attention turned from, forget Matthew three-peating, can Matthew have a winless season? We had it all there for us. We had it all to have Matthew have a winless season, and instead you gave him new life, new hope, and I'm so disgusted with all of you.
There have been 2 different occasions where the Colts have been a 98% chance to make the playoffs. 2021 and this year. They're going to miss the playoffs both of those years. The odds of that happening, 1 in 2,500. It's not real. It's ridiculous that this has happened. My grievance is with football god.
I've been in this dynasty league for years and years and years, and I have crushed every single year. Do I have any titles? I have no titles. This is going to be the 4th straight year I've made the playoffs. This year I was the #1 seed. I had a bye, and yet what happens? It's outrageous. The whole thing is stupid. I'm going to finish with most points and once again not have a dynasty title. We'll see you tomorrow. Peace out.
We won't.
Fantasy Football Happy Hour with Matthew Berry.
Happy Friday. Welcome to the Fantasy Football Happy Hour. Yes, we're back from our nice little Christmas and holiday break. Connor Rogers, Matthew Berry, Jay Croucher.
Everyone else taking it off, but we are here. We are here because we care about you, because it's the Friday of championship season, and because, honestly, after what we witnessed yesterday, everyone needs some help. That was brutal.
The stuff. I didn't mind the last game. Last game was okay. Kept captivating at the end.
Yeah, it was
just driving to win.
Yeah, no. It was a close game.
Wasn't a great game. It was compelling.
It was a great game. It was a great game.
I was kept awake.
Yeah, I was both happy because I had the Chiefs quarterback to throw a touchdown pass, over 0.5 touchdown passes. That cashed. I also had the over.
Sorry, you can
at
say
37.
his name. It's not Voldemort. You say Chris Oladokin.
I just couldn't pronounce it. Oladokin. Yeah, sure. I had Oladokin
he
over.
should not be named Chris Oladokin.
Yeah. Just didn't have it yet. He's no Ogunbowale for me.
That's right.
But I also had the over at 37.5, and that did not happen. I thought.
What a crawl it was.
Oh my God, we had a chance.
He had some moments.
We needed the Chiefs to tie it up. I needed Cortland Sutton to catch a touchdown pass instead of dropping it.
Right.
That was bad.
That game, I really needed the Broncos to win that game. And I'm sitting there on the final drive being like, how is this still in doubt?
Right.
Going into the last, so this is a funny thing. So Chris Oladokin needs to drive the length of the field to either tie the game. They would have gone for 2 because they don't want to go to overtime in that situation. Oladokin, the Chiefs are 35-1 on the money line going into the last drive. So like,
Zero faith.
You're not going to get.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden they're like plus 500 when they get to the 23, and then they inexplicably take the delay of game, and Chris Oladokin misses Hollywood in the end zone. But that was compelling theatre. It was all right. It was a good close to a pretty meek day of games.
The heroes of Christmas: Max Brosmer, Chris Oladokin,
Vikings defense.
Josh Johnson, year 18, team 25.
3 games, 3 third-string quarterbacks.
Yeah.
3 games, 3 third-string quarterbacks, and Jared Goff, who played like one.
Yeah. I will say, needing Bo Nix to not cost me a lot of money. I thought Bo Nix was all right last night. I thought he played well. I thought he took what was there in front of him.
Team didn't help him out.
I'm going to say this now, and we're supposed to get to love-hate. It's love-hate day. It's week 16. It's championship week. So it's week 17, right? Yeah, it's week 17.
Yep.
Sorry. But what I'll just say here very quickly is that, Jay, I cannot wait. I cannot wait to bet against the Broncos in the playoffs. They are the most fraudulent 12-3 team I've ever seen in my life.
Do markets know that, though?
Yeah.
I don't think there'll be some big favorite in any game.
No. The issue is the rest of the AFC, though. Because they could be playing the Steelers in round 2, or they could be playing, the Pats are good, but the Broncos would be slight favorites at home if they play the Patriots. The fun one will be Buffalo. So if it's Josh Allen going up against Bo Nix again.
I am begging Buffalo to make the Super Bowl. Please, Buffalo, save us.
Yeah. Well, or honestly, Jacksonville. Jacksonville are playing well.
Great story.
Yeah. Jacksonville would be a great story, but speaking as somebody who works for the National Broadcasting Corporation and the cock here and has the Super Bowl this year, we would prefer the Bills, I would just say, than the small market Jaguars. No disrespect, but Josh Allen, massive superstar, movie star wife.
Trevor
I'm just
Lawrence.
saying.
The mega city of Buffalo, New York.
Buffalo in the Super Bowl with that fan base.
I know, I agree.
They're 0 for 4. They've never won a Super Bowl title. It is among the greatest fan bases in all of pro sports. Forget football. It is among the greatest fan bases in all of pro sports. The Bills Mafia deserves a Super Bowl. I am desperately rooting for them to make it.
Yeah. I think we might be getting Seahawks Jags. So I'm not kidding.
Seahawks Texans.
Yeah.
Listen, the Texans, if you can play defense, you can win in the playoffs.
If this isn't the year for Josh Allen, when? Like, this has got to – I know Buffalo has their problems.
The team isn't great.
The team has their problems. We got plenty of time to talk about it because we're not going anywhere in January. But for now, let's get to love-hate for Week 17 and start with the running backs for love-hate here as we take a look at Matthew's top 10 going into the week. No surprise to see Christian McCaffrey against the Bears at the top. But how about Ashton Jeanty, Matthew, cracking the top 5? It's about damn time.
Obviously, 6 teams have been removed. All the teams that have played so far this week, we've removed the rankings of them. So no Jahmyr Gibbs, et cetera, et cetera. But yeah, Ashton Jeanty gets the Giants, and this is all about the matchup, boys. When Ashton Jeanty, I mean, the Giants have allowed the 3rd most fantasy points to opposing running backs, so giving up 5.7 yards per carry to opposing running backs. We saw signs of life from Jeanty last week. He's actually started to play like we thought he would when he came into the league. And look, when Ashton Jeanty has gotten work, right, this year when he's seen at least 18 touches, he's averaging over 20 fantasy points per game. And so, the Raiders are at home. They're only 1.5-point dogs to the Giants, which is sort of crazy. But again, we expect this to be a somewhat close game where they're not going to have to suddenly abandon their principles. We expect Jeanty to get a big workload at home in a great matchup. He's a top 5 play for me this week. And yes, Ashton Jeanty makes the love list, which is an indictment on Ashton Jeanty's season that he's been so bad that I can put him on the love list, and it's not like that's obvious, Barry.
Yeah, to me, Connor, he looked the most Ashton Jeanty-like he had all season. There's just that extraterrestrial, low center of gravity, breaking tackles, guys bouncing off him. Looked like he was playing for Boise State in some of those runs. Do you think that was just – and the thing is, too, it's against the Texans. Do you think it was just that they found something with the offensive line and with him and how to utilize him?
Well, it's good to see them, number one, throwing him the ball. Yeah. That's something we've kind of complained about at least the first 2 months of the season. And then it just looked like there was some more room behind the line of scrimmage to get momentum, to generate that contact balance that made him such a great prospect.
I believe Greg Olsen is calling the plays for the Raiders. Now, this is not obviously the former Panthers tight end who's not a broadcaster. Huh?
This is his 3rd time being the play caller for the Raiders offense.
That's right, with different regimes.
Isn't that amazing?
No, I know, but you know what? Like Greg Olsen, Greg Olsen, the offensive coordinator now, the play caller for the Raiders, like he's done it with Jacksonville. He's been in a lot of bad situations, but each one of those offenses, like he was calling the plays for Blake Bortles, right? I mean, that offense moved the ball. I mean, there was all sorts of problems, but he is a good, experienced play caller, and just some of the stuff that's come out about Chip Kelly and that offense, just having some organization around the play calling.
SEC man.
Yeah.
Waiting for Jay to say that Jeanty has voluminous touches?
I say that word a lot and too much because every time in my head I think voluptuous,
yes.
which is not the same.
No,
not
it is
the same.
not.
Different word.
Voluminous is good in fantasy.
Yeah, he has
By the way,
a
so
voluminous
voluptuous.
Yeah, Ashton Jeanty does have a voluminous workload.
Yes, and that would be voluptuous to us. Dennis Ojeda, 7036, says need 2 RBs and a flex full PPR, Jeanty, Warren, Gainwell, and Darren Waller. Interesting. All right, I honestly...
It's not Waller.
Yeah,
no,
I was just going to...
One of these is not like the others.
The only question to me is, are you okay starting the 2 Steelers guys? Gainwell over Warren for me. Jeanty and Gainwell are the 2 obvious ones. So those are your 2 running backs. So now it's Warren or Darren Waller. Here's my question. Is he talking about Jaylen Warren, the Pittsburgh running back, or Tyler Warren, the Colts tight end? I don't know the answer to that.
I think it's Jalen because he says he needs 2 running backs and a full flex PPR.
Right.
So if he needs to fill... He wouldn't have a dilemma.
I would assume it's going to be Jalen.
So let's say it's Jaylen Warren.
Very good deductive reasoning from Connor there.
Yeah.
Hercule Poirot on the desk.
He puts on the tracksuit and suddenly he becomes really brainy.
Operate?
Yeah.
It's all a trick.
Yeah, it's well done.
Optical illusion.
I think I get the appeal of Darren Waller, especially going against Tampa Bay, which has been so bad with their secondary here, but it's full PPR.
Are you going through the 3 running backs?
I think you're going with the 3 running backs here. They're on the road to Cleveland, although Cleveland's run defense has been brutal lately. Right,
Pollard
by the way,
buffet.
And it's a cold weather game in Cleveland in December. I think they're just going to run the hell of the ball. I think it's the 3 running backs. It's not Darren Waller. I'm still not sold on Quinn Ewers, right? And he was better than I thought he would be. What?
That's controversial.
Brave
not sold on Quinn Ewers. I'm not sold on Max Brosnan. I'm not sure Max Brosnan is the answer.
Somebody has to take a stand here. The media's gone too far on Quinn Ewers.
I'm just saying.
I'll tell you what else. I'm not selling Chris Oladokun. Yeah. I think Mahomes gets that job back.
I'd like to see more. I definitely would like to see more before I declare him the starter.
Why did I come in for this? I was at home with my family enjoying holidays. All right. But yeah, all that said, I'm just saying it's a little nerve-wracking with Waller, who's going to need a touchdown to pay off, which he could easily get, but we're all seeing the 3 running backs there.
Chase Brown, our next running back here. He's got Arizona. Chase Brown has been an absolute wagon since Joe Burrow's been back, Jay. He's got over 21 points per game. That's a top 5 running back since Joe Burrow has returned from IR.
He's been a monster. Matthew had him on his fantasy team, as well as the 2 guys who are going to finish top 2 in MVP, and still couldn't sniff the playoffs in the end. But no, he's really turned it around lately. Chase Brown, Joe Burrow obviously vaults his offense so significantly. It's also a pretty reasonable matchup. They're sizable favorites against an Arizona team that, I mean, Arizona, they've been competitive, but they've started to play kind of unreal games because they're just so banged up on defense. So yeah, Chase Brown, legitimate RB1.
You mentioned the matchup against the Cardinals, right? 5 of their past 6 games, they've given at least 16 fantasy points to an opposing running back, and they're giving up 186 scrimmage yards. 186 scrimmage yards to running backs in that stretch over the last 6 games. And so since Burrow returned, Connor, to your point, he's the 4th best running back in fantasy. He's averaging 18 touches a game, so just basically 18 touches against this Cardinals defense. He's a top 10 play for me, and he is starting for me in my 7th place game against Connor Rogers. That's right. Connor Rogers and I, in the loser bracket, we face off this week in the 7th place game.
I thought it beat you in the loser bracket.
I thought so too, but then I opened the app and then I won a couple of games.
Format
and then
makes no sense.
I have no idea, but all I know is it says you and I are playing this week for the 7th place game.
Here we go.
I did start Jacory Croskey-Merritt.
Oh, wow. I'm in a hole already. Yeah, I haven't even looked at my lineup.
Yeah.
I'm in trouble in the championship game. I'm in trouble. I didn't like the Brock Bowers notification that he's going on IR.
Yeah.
Because you know who I'm going to have to start in his place?
Who's that?
Well, I'm going to start Michael Mayer in his place. And then also, someone else got injured. Now I'm looking hard at Mumfield. Mumfield.
Oh, the old Kenneth Mumfield.
Kenneth Mumfield.
Yep. Championship weekend. Love that.
Yeah. It has been a brutal season. It's been a brutal championship week.
Fantasy championships are going to be like week 12 before we know it.
I know. I mean,
every team is shutting guys down.
If the NFL would commit to not having any bye weeks in week 14, I would say start the playoffs in week 14, 15, 16. Yes. And you don't have the last 2 weeks of the season.
Yeah, no, I agree.
But the problem is that they have byes during week 14.
Yeah.
Sometimes 4 and even 6 teams in the previous years.
Wait till we have a 20-game season.
I reckon we go back to like baseball in the 70s. Let's just no semis, just straight to the final, top 2 teams. Screw it. I like that.
Boy. I'm sure
I don't know if that's going to win over.
No NLDS. Yeah, no, that won't play.
That would be bad. Anyway.
Some others receiving votes. Rhamondre Stevenson. Of course, that's, with the context of Travion Henderson's health status.
Assuming Henderson is out, we like Rhamondre Stevenson going against your Jets, Connor, as running backs that have seen 15 touches against the New York Jets, averaging over 20 fantasy points per game. You see Kenneth Gainwell, who we just talked about in the question there. Since week 11, he's the 8th best running back in fantasy. He's been a top 12 running back in 5 of the last 6 games. 21% target share, by the way, in the last 6 as well. And we sort of mentioned Tony Pollard. You know what? Over the last 3 games, he's averaging 20 touches, getting a ton of work. Saints have allowed 120 rushing yards in 4 of the past 5 games. So these are all guys that I think are viable top 20-ish running backs this week.
Yep. Just quickly, Trevor Henderson has been practicing, so we'll know today if he gets a full practice in, and then I think he'll likely play if he gets a full practice in. If he doesn't, then he'll probably be out.
Which is very rare.
Yeah.
To see.
Really quick turnaround off the Sunday night.
It's not common.
Yeah.
He was ruled out pretty quickly. Yeah, we'll see.
So we're rooting for it. Again, concussions are non-linear injuries, and so they are like, there have been good days and bad days, and they go up and down, and some people recover quickly, and then some people, they're out for 2 months. I mean, we saw
Jordan Love could play this week as well.
Yeah.
The weird one is
Cedric Tillman missed 2 months last year with it.
Right. The weird one is they're 2 touchdown favorites against the Jets, where, knowing how badly they need Travion for the playoffs, are they just going to be hammering him to run out the clock?
Yeah. Well, it would be a good indicator if he does play that they know that he's totally fine. Right?
I hope
because
so.
they're not going. Well, you would
fair.
hope so anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it does feel like Vrabel is one of those kind of Vrabel clearly is an old school coach.
Right.
But, he's one of those, our guys play. You know what I mean? I always remember it was like the meaningless, I forget which year it was, but it was a meaningless game for the Patriots. And Gronk was in there on an extra point. and screwed up his shoulder and was basically out for much of the playoffs, right? And everyone was like, you guys had already won the game, it didn't matter. Why on earth is Gronk on a special teams play? And Belichick was like, because that's what we do.
We play football.
Like he's one of our best blockers. He's always in on that play. We're playing football. And I feel like Vrabel is part of that kind of mentality of
which is very silly, to be clear.
Understood,
but I'm just saying
but it's just going to be like, no. He's one of our starting running backs. Yeah. Is he healthy? Then he's playing. We're playing a game of football. Sure. We're trying to beat the Jets, period.
Yep.
We're not sitting there thinking like, they're not that good. Do we need them?
Right.
I don't think they are.
And they're in contention for the 1 seed. So.
I will just say this. If TreVeyon Henderson is active for this game, even if you see reports of limited touches, whatever, he's playing the Jets. TreVeyon Henderson can literally all he needs is one play to make your day. Right. I mean, especially against the Jets. So if TreVeyon Henderson is active, I'm starting him. And I would still start Rhamondre Stevenson. I just obviously would lower the ranks. But I think that they are going to get up big. And as somebody who has Drake May in a final, I am a little nervous about it that they just
stop throwing.
They stop throwing. They just don't need to. I'm hoping that,
Freddie Cook.
Josh Daniels wants to just make a point. Josh McDaniels wants to make a point. Keep throwing it,
Yeah, what that point is, we don't know.
Hey, we're good. I'm trying to pad stats for Drake May to maybe win the MVP.
Possible. He is the runner-up.
Yep.
It's going to be Stafford. Yep.
All right, going to the hate list for running backs. Rico Dowdle headlines the list here, guys. He's got the Seahawks. Over the past month, Rico Dowdle, Matthew, has barely been startable, which is kind of crazy.
Yeah, I mean, he hasn't been good. Over the last 5 weeks, he's running back 29 on a fantasy points per game, and he hasn't scored 13 more fantasy points since week 11. And he's 41st. Get this. Over the last 5 weeks, he is 41st in fantasy points per touch among running backs. So it's just he hasn't been super productive, and it's weird because the Panthers have been winning. And it's not like they're lighting it up in the air, but, it's a combination of the defense of, they get just enough out of Bryce Young in the passing attack. Chuba Hubbard's involved, and it's just all of it's a mess. And then you add in the fact that you've got a Seahawks defense that's giving up 3.5 yards per carry to opposing running backs. That's lowest in the NFL, and it just feels like a situation to avoid if you can.
Yeah, this could be a playoff preview. These two teams could be playing 2 weeks from now with the Panthers hosting that game.
It's unbelievable.
It's amazing.
Very in play.
Let's go to the love list for pass catchers here, guys, and we show Matthew's top 10 wide receivers. And you see Chris Olave in the top 5, just because the Saints have had a tough season, although they've played a lot better lately. Olave's been on fire with Tyler Shough, Matthew.
Yeah, over 17 fantasy points per game in Tyler Shough's 7 starts this season with a 28% target share. And now you get a matchup that's so great against Tennessee. Titans have given up at least 15 fantasy points to a wide receiver in 7 straight games. They allow the highest catch rate to wide receivers. So somebody is going off against the Titans. And the best bet here, obviously, is Chris Olave, who gets a ton of looks from Tyler Shough.
Moving on, guys, to Jauan Jennings. He's got the Bears. 15 points per game since Brock Purdy returned. We talked about Chase Brown with Burrow back. For Jauan Jennings, it's been his quarterback being back, where he's been a red zone monster as well.
Yeah, it's Brock Sember.
It is Brock Sember, although Brock, last time he played around Christmas, or a couple times ago, I remember that Ravens game.
MVP race.
Still scars. I'm still scarred from that game, actually. I remember sitting there by myself on my couch watching Brock just completely implode against Mike McDonald's defense. Hopefully I don't get the same thing
What a
Week
wonderful
18.
Christmas memory for you.
Savage.
Sophia's got the kids in the other room, but you're just there by yourself.
Actually, I remember sitting there in the dark because I had a lot of money on Brock Purdy, 50-1 to win MVP, and he got to minus 250. But then I bet a lot of money on the Ravens' money line as a kind of hedge for that position. And then Brock has 3 interceptions in the first half. The Ravens are only up 4, and Christian McCaffrey's going berserk. And I'm sitting there just alone on Christmas in a dark room being like, McCaffrey's going to win MVP. The Niners are going to win this game. Every single bet is going to lose.
Right.
But fortunately, my man Lamar Jackson turned it on, and the Ravens won. He won MVP. But anyway, Jauan Jennings
got Preston's that year.
Yeah, Christmas was not canceled.
A couple things for Jauan Jennings. One, he didn't really ever seem to have the rapport with Mac Jones. 2, Mac Jones isn't as good as Brock Purdy, and so he wasn't getting the ball. And also, he was just like a MASH character for 2 months.
Broken
ribs. Guy had everything wrong with him. Yeah. This is just a comical series of injuries. And now he's healthy. Purdy is healthy. Purdy looks the best that he has ever looked, frankly, off the toe injury. And it's a pretty favourable matchup against the Bears team that quietly, everyone focuses on the Bears' heroics at the end of that game against the Packers. Packers moved the ball at will against the Bears that entire game, even without Jordan Love. So very favourable matchup for Jennings.
Since week 9, to your point, the Bears are allowing the 5th most fantasy points to opposing wide receivers. Excuse me. And, you think about how this 49ers offense looks, right? So good matchup at home against Chicago, so should be good weather. Kittle's got that ankle injury. We still don't know the status of him. Ricky Pearsall still limited. Sun comes up, sun comes down. Ricky Pearsall still limited. And so he has this connection with Purdy, especially in the red zone. He's scored in 5 of the last 6 games. So, I think Jauan Jennings, again, with the 6 teams having already played, I think he's a top 10 wide receiver this week.
Yeah, also, if Kittle does play and he hasn't practiced so far, he's not going to be 100%. I think pretty clearly, coming off a low to mid ankle sprain, whatever that means. But yeah, and Pearsall looks like he might be trending in the right direction. This is a huge game. Sunday Night Football, potential 1 seed on the line for the Niners. But yeah, Jauan Jennings is the pass catcher on San Francisco I feel best about.
As we move to tight ends, Fannin Jr. against the Steelers, and this one maybe not as much about the matchup as it is about Shedeur Sanders being under center, because since Shedeur has taken over, Fannin leads all tight ends with a 31% target share, Matthew.
It's unbelievable. And it's a great matchup against the Steelers, right? There's been 3 different tight ends to see at least a 20% target share against the Steelers. They've all scored 25 or more fantasy points. Tucker Kraft, Darren Waller, Hunter Henry. And then, in the first matchup against the Steelers, Fannin was tight end 7. Shedeur seems to only look his ways. They're using him in a bunch of different ways. Fannin is, especially they used him in the backfield, recently. And so with Quinshon Judkins off, he's injured, and they're going to try to figure out that offense. It does feel like Fannin's going to be the focal point of an important game for the Browns, who, if not, season hasn't gone their way, but they'd love to spoil things for the Steelers.
Absolutely. They're only 3-point dogs at home with a very AFC North and December-like total of 34.5.
Ryan Oswald chiming in here. Flex Fannin against a horrible tight end defense, or Devontae Smith against a top secondary. It is PPR.
I think I'd go Fannin. Here.
Yeah.
I mean, I just because Devontae, here's what I would say, Ryan. It depends what you need, floor or ceiling. Because if you need floor, Fannin's the answer.
Yeah, I agree.
Because, it could be a Saquon game, an A.J. Brown game, a Dallas Goedert game, Jalen Hurts runs 2 in. There are games where Devontae Smith just completely disappears, right? And the Bills are very good against wide receivers. So I actually think it's going to be a Saquon Hurts kind of game. But if you need upside, again, Devontae Smith can make your day with one play. They like to chuck it deep to him, they will. And so I think it just sort of depends on what you need. Because I do think if you told me one of these 2 guys has 25 points, then I would say it probably was Devontae Smith, right? But if you tell me, who's more likely, who do you feel better about getting 12 points? It's Fannin.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and Fannin has upside as well. That crazy game against the Titans a couple of weeks ago too. So yeah, I would just go Fannin.
All right, let's keep it moving here, and we go to others receiving votes. Jakobi Meyers with that nice new extension in Jacksonville. He makes the list. He's been a go-to target for Trevor Lawrence. Jaylen Waddle against the Bucs. DJ Moore against the Niners, and then another tight end in Hunter Henry, who can have a big day against a Jets defense that is not good against the tight end.
No, the Jets aren't, and you think about this offense. Kayshon Boutte is in the concussion protocol. Matt Collins has that abdomen injury. None of them have practiced this week, so could be a big Hunter Henry game, who is the 6th best tight end in fantasy since week 12. You see DJ Moore there as well. When he's seeing at least 6 targets, he's averaging over almost 18 fantasy points per game. You mentioned that over-under now 52.5. We expect the Niners to move the ball against the Bears, and so DJ Moore should be a big part of that offense. Jaylen Waddle and Quinn Ewers' first start. I'm still not sold. I know everyone else is, but I'm still not sold.
Somebody has to stand up for this nonsense.
Somebody has to make that point.
It's the rail against Quinn Ewers.
Yeah, but Jaylen Waddle did have a 31% target share in Ewers' first start. Wide receivers that have seen at least a 20% target share against the Bucs are averaging over 15 fantasy points per game. And then you just mentioned Jakobi Meyers from Jay Croucher's Super Bowl favorite Jaguars. Over the last 5 games has a 25% target share. Decent matchup against your formerly formidable Colts.
Yeah, producer Steven's going to be insufferable if we're out there Super Bowl week in San Francisco and the Jags are in the Super Bowl stuff. I might wear a was it Dion Lewis? Was he the guy who fumbled against Miles Jack in the AFC title game with the fumble that wasn't called?
Oh, I think that's right.
It was Dion Lewis.
Good call.
Whoever that Patriots player was, I'll be wearing that jersey all week.
Yeah, it's fine. I mean, I will say the Jaguars got screwed in that game. That was absolutely unbelievable.
Game was over.
Yeah.
We're up 10 and they just got a fumble. Anyway.
What watch Charlie? Full PPR, Michael Wilson or Jakobi Meyers?
I'm going to say Jakobi Meyers here. Again, Wilson, we like Wilson. Jacoby Brissett and Wilson came back down to earth a little bit. Marvin Harrison Jr. expected to play a little bit here. I think Wilson will actually be fine, but Jakobi Meyers, to me, is the start here. Since Week 11, the Colts are giving up the third most fantasy points to opposing wide receivers.
Yep. Sauce Gardner, I think, is going to be back, but
it's trending that way.
They still don't have a pass rush. He can't rush the passer too much, Sauce. So
no, and I mean, Jacoby can move around. They've done a good job of moving him around, and So.
Jags did whatever they wanted against the Colts through the air when they played a couple of weeks ago.
They've done whatever they wanted, it feels like, for weeks.
Yeah, I mean, they're red hot. Listen, if they move the ball that way against Denver, I think they'll be fine against Indy, especially in a game that's in the Dome. So no weather concerns there as well.
I'm done with Denver as completely like a lead unstoppable defense.
Oh, yeah.
Chris Oladokin almost marched them down the field.
Like, that narrative's out the door.
They're not in the same tier as the Texans or the Seahawks.
And we're not even sold Oladokin's the future.
Exactly.
Yeah,
I think it's Mahomes.
I think he's got a chance of getting that job back. 48.5 is the over-under for that Jags-Colts game, by the way.
Stuntman Shough, get Mary some Robitussin and a Diet Coke.
I've been on antibiotics. I don't know what happened. The last 3 days. Seriously. Yeah. I've tested negative for everything, and my voice was fine coming in here, and then...
You've been Jauan Jennings the past month. Just
right.
Down.
I just can't get over
different maladies.
Yeah.
That's your flu game from Victor.
Again, that's what a lifetime of chicken tenders and diet soda does to a man.
It's hard to believe.
The vocal cords eventually give out. All right, let's go to the hate list here for pass catchers. Ladd McConkey is the name to know against Houston. Jay, Ladd McConkey has 5 straight games under 45 receiving yards.
Yeah, I think this is mostly a product of just Justin Herbert being constantly under siege. And I think also the game that he had against Dallas, which was awesome, it was more a reflection of Dallas' secondary as opposed to the passes, the Chargers figuring anything out in the pass game. Your man Josh Johnson was able to do largely what he wanted for stretches against the Cowboys. So Ladd McConkey against the Houston team that, I mean, we saw this matchup in the playoffs last year. Herbert had no time. He was under siege. McConkey actually had a great game in that one, but that was largely because of one long play. So Ladd McConkey, you can probably do better tomorrow.
39.5 is the over-under this game. We're not expecting a ton of points here. And while if I had to start a Chargers pass catcher, McConkey is the guy. But again, we've seen whether it's QJ or Keenan Allen or Rondé Gadsden, I think they're going to try to run a decent amount. My ride or die or Amarian Hampton. And so I have McConkey outside my top 20, again, already with 6 teams having played.
Yeah, I don't really understand why the Chargers are 1.5, almost 2-point favorites in this game, given that it is arguably the worst offensive line in football going up against arguably the best pass rush in football.
It's a little surprised.
Yeah, and also the Texans, I mean, I understand the teams have changed over the past 12 months. The Texans completely decimated them in that playoff game because of that matchup.
Yeah. I mean,
fluky line.
Yeah.
Weird line.
Yeah. All right, let's go to quarterbacks here as we look at Matthew's top 10 for love-hate. And Joe Burrow against the Cardinals, an obvious love here. He's in the top 5. He's averaging 38 pass attempts per game since returning in Week 13. Thank you to the Bengals defense, Matthew.
Yeah, by the way, and then you mentioned this, then you think about the matchup against Arizona. Since Week 11, they allow over 19 fantasy points per game to quarterbacks. They're allowing touchdowns at the highest rate in the NFL. So Burrow's out there, and he's going to be thrown to Jamar Chase. Proud Fantasy Life investor Joe Burrow should have a huge game here. I have him as my QB4 this week, and you see it right there on your screen. Tough game against the Ravens, but otherwise, since he's returned, he has been Joe Cool.
Your man, Brock Purdy, Jay. He's got the Bears, ranked second in touchdown rate and third in touchdown passes since he's been back in Week 11. The Niners' offense is absolutely humming.
Yeah, I think you can make a case that this is, with everyone healthy, if Kittle's fully healthy, that this is back to like best offense in football, 2023 Super Bowl Niners level. They're just completely loaded. This is the best O-line that Purdy has played behind. He's fully healthy. The fact that Pearsall is going to come back into this group as well. Purdy, by EPA per play, I know Shanahan offenses, EPA and everything, Purdy's the number 1 quarterback in the NFL on a per-play basis in terms of his efficiency per play. So, against the Chicago defense that is not particularly imposing, I think Purdy should do, again, whatever he wants.
Is Purdy the most impressive quarterback in terms of what he was like as a college prospect to what he is now in terms of the growth? I mean, there's a lot. Like Dak Prescott was a 4th-round pick. You know what I mean? There's a lot of guys that weren't first-round picks that are legit starters in the NFL, but like...
And even Dak, I think he goes in the 2nd round if he doesn't get a DUI like the month of the draft.
Right.
So that's even one where Dak has been way better than anyone could have expected, but there's also like, there was that moment that kind of hurt him a little bit.
Yeah.
Purdy, I mean, he was an afterthought in the 7th round. He's
literally the lost pick.
He's completely changed I think he was a 4-year starter. Yeah. So like, he had a huge sample size of what he was, and no one was like, wow, Brock Purdy, sign me up. So yeah, him or just how raw Josh Allen was, and now he's
That's true.
An absolute superstar.
How do you think
Josh Allen?
Those are the two.
That's a great example.
And he was a first-round pick.
But he was a first-round pick. But Josh Allen, you knew was going to had this massive arm and super athletic, but
so inaccurate.
At Wyoming, incredibly inaccurate and just turnover
prone.
Yes.
He doesn't do either of those. He's accurate and doesn't turn the ball over as
It's
much.
unbelievable. Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Obviously, Purdy benefits a lot from the system and his weapons, but how do you think he would look if he was in Carolina?
He'd still be a good player. That's what people get wrong. He might not be this, highest EPA per play quarterback level player, but he's aggressive.
Yep.
He's athletic. He's clearly a pretty smart quarterback. He's better than, once again, he often gets credit for.
I think the two things with Purdy that people don't give him credit for is one, just his processing speed, which Shanahan always talks about as outlier, incredible. And then also the one thing with quarterbacks that separates the great ones from the not great ones is when you can feel pressure without seeing it.
Right.
And Purdy can feel pressure without seeing it, and then he has the speed to take off. His legs got the Niners to the Super Bowl in that NFC title game against the Lions. He won that game with his legs. So, I think Purdy is always going to be controversial, lightning rod, but I think this is one of the 10 best quarterbacks in football.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. It's really an incredible story. Unbelievable there as well. And yes, to your point, he's not Lamar Jackson, he's not Josh Allen, but he is sneaky fast, faster than he gets credit for.
Yeah,
for sure.
And he knows when to run.
That's the key.
Yeah,
you're right. Some others receiving votes. Trevor Lawrence has been playing the best football of his career the last 3 weeks, and Tyler Shough is giving the Saints no doubt that they don't need a quarterback in the next draft, that they got their guy in the top 50 of the last draft. And you love the matchup against Tennessee, Matthew.
7 of the last 9 quarterbacks to face the Titans have thrown for at least 2 touchdowns. Tyler Shough has actually been a top 10 fantasy quarterback over the last month. And then Trevor Lawrence, we talked about that Colts game quite a bit, high over-under since week 5. Trevor Lawrence is the second best quarterback in fantasy on a points-per-game basis. Worth noting that since week 12, the Colts are the bottom 2 pass defense. They've given up over 260 passing yards a game.
Saddening to me.
Yeah.
It's tough seeing.
Are you still a Colts man?
Yeah, I'm still a Colts man.
Holding on to the
I still like the Colts. Financially now, that's all gone.
Right.
That's all gone. All the money is gone. But I still do have a soft spot for the Colts. I like Jonathan Taylor and Shane Steichen.
Right.
Sure.
Yeah.
No first-round pick the next 2 years.
It's all right. Well, it's all right. I think Daniel Jones, if he's, coming off the Achilles, if he's 80% of himself, roll it back. This is like the greatest offense ever for 9 weeks.
I'm excited for this, I'll tell you that.
It's tough. It's tough out there.
Oh, boy. All right, let's go to the hate list. But before we do, Trevor, Dart, or Brissett, that is from Cush 2020.
Yeah, I think it's Trevor Lawrence. Look, I think both Jackson Dart and Jacoby Brissett will be better than they were last week. Nowhere to go but up, honestly, especially for Dart. So I think all 3 will be good this week, but I just don't know how you bench Trevor Lawrence. He's just been so red hot, and you love this matchup.
Yep. Justin Herbert headlines the hate list. He's got Houston, and like Jay said, the Chargers are a 1.5 favorite in this game, but this is not going to be easy sledding for Herbert. Simply because of the pass rush in this, Jay.
Yeah, the Chargers' offensive line, there's just nothing left to hold on to there. Now, they've been a little bit better the past couple weeks. I think that's more about the opponents that they've played, though. This is the worst possible matchup you can imagine. And Herbert, I think that the upside case for his fantasy value is that he's going to be running for his life the entire game, and he may run past the line of scrimmage quite a few times. But this Houston defense last week was a bit of a hiccup, but you can kind of forgive that given that they may have been looking ahead a little bit and they've been playing so well for so long. But yeah, Justin Herbert, this could be one of those games where it's like 137 passing yards and a pick and sacked 9 times.
Yeah, this could get really ugly. Just to put some numbers to exactly what you're saying here, Chargers allow pressure at the 3rd highest rate. That is not good. The Texans are top 5 in QB pressures. So you've got a team that's really good at getting to the quarterback against a team that's really bad about protecting the quarterback. And so I agree with you. It's a low over-under in this game as well. 39.5 just feels like this is a game to avoid, especially on the Chargers side of the ball, if you can.
Yeah, I think what this line reflects is still a bit of skepticism about the Texans' offense, more so than optimism in the Chargers' offense.
All right, we're going to take our first break. When we're back, we're recapping all of the action from Christmas Day and, of course, taking your questions. What's on tap is after this.
who's your biggest surprise?
I'm going to say Matthew Stafford, because so much of what we say is like you need a mobile quarterback. And here's Matthew Stafford, who's at 37 years old, and we have a long track record of Matthew Stafford being a very good NFL quarterback and a so-so fantasy quarterback. To me, Matthew Stafford being a top 5 fantasy quarterback, despite the fact he does not run, to me, that's the biggest surprise.
Joe, Premier League, who was the biggest surprise for you?
Oh, there's a couple of names to stick out. I think the main one is Igor Thiago from Brentford. Was signed a while ago, had really bad injuries, bad luck, and then he's come in right now, and he's the main man. Scored 11 goals already this season, and I think everyone's just delighted to see him out there playing and shaking off those injuries.
The Premier League is in a huge stretch this holiday season with the biggest names in the game playing 40 matches in 16 days.
Yeah, they are.
To NBC and Peacock to catch all the action and set your fantasy football lineups accordingly. For a chance to win a jersey off our wall, send us your fantasy PL lineups using the hashtag FFHH and follow our resident soccer expert, Joe Prince Wright, for the latest Premier League news and updates.
Signed by the entire team.
Yes.
The entire Newcastle team. This could be somebody's.
Somebody wants this.
Somebody wants this, yeah.
One of the regulars wants this.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's right off our wall. Yeah. We'll even take a video of Matthew taking it off the wall for you.
Yeah.
And destroying the wall.
There's no way Matthew can reach that.
I might be able to. But by the way, you need to do this so we get it off our wall and then we can replace it with a JSN jersey.
Yes. That's the long-awaited JSN jersey.
Yeah. One of the great TV moments was Matthew nodding in approval at JPW, suggesting that Igor Thiago was the biggest surprise of the Premier League season. It's absolutely 0% chance Matthew knows who Igor Thiago is. Less than 0, my friends.
Good television. Some of your better television.
You know what?
You don't do that for Jay, right?
I know JPW knows what he's talking about, so yeah, I'm in agreement.
Joe Prince Wright, Dominique Rodgers-Cromartie, as Jay said, Ben Jarvis, Green Ellis.
And Jacory Croskey-Merritt.
There he is, right there. Wow, what a layup of a transition. The Christmas Day top performers, Jacory Croskey-Merritt, only behind Dak Prescott. 11 carries, Matthew, for over 100 yards and 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, this was so annoying because, just like, Chris Rodriguez was ruled inactive just before the game, and I got a bunch of texts, what do we do with Jacory Croskey-Merritt? And I'm just like, the Cowboys have actually been a pretty good run defense since Quinnen Williams came there. Quinnen Williams was active in this game, and so I just said, I think Jacory Croskey-Merritt is an RB3 in this game. I think he's like a usable flex. This is what I wrote. And this is what I told my friends who texted me. I said, I think he's a usable flex. I think he can probably get about 50 yards with a shot at a touchdown, which he got. But then he broke off a 72-yarder or whatever, which was crazy. Like, he'd been bad up until that point. He had fallen in the end zone. The one touchdown run was good. And then he breaks up this great run. And we're like, where has this been the whole time?
Right.
And so my friends that did not start Jacory Croskey-Merritt were very angry. Now, I did put him into my lineup against Connor in our huge 7th place matchup.
Finding out about all of these matchups.
I'm already up. I'm already up big in this one as well. Look, I don't know that there's a takeaway here other than the fact that if you were playing next week and Rodriguez is still out, but it was nice to see Bill show the upside that we expected from the preseason. A little bit too late, but believe it or not, he's got the most rushing touchdowns of any rookie running back this year. He's got 8. He's actually 3rd in rushing yards, despite the fact that he didn't play very much over the second half of the season.
Jonathan Medici asking, what's Bill's ADP next season?
I think it really depends on what else the Commanders do at the running back position. I've talking to some sources. Raheem Morris. Raheem Morris is always my source. It doesn't matter whether it's the Falcons or the Commanders or any team in the NFL. But
Brentford.
Raheem Morris tells me that what the Commanders really like Bill, but they think he's probably more of a 2, and that they want a thumper. I think they want a thumper. That Bill Croskey-Merritt is like a shifty guy, 3rd down back. Obviously has that explosiveness there, but I think even though he was able to punch it in, from the 8-yard line or whatever, that the Commanders want a thumper. I don't know that they feel like Chris Rodriguez is that guy. Be interesting if proud Fantasy Life investor Austin Eckler is back with the team. We don't know about that, but I do expect, whether it's through free agency or the draft, for the Commanders to get another, like a bigger back that I think they would want to, pair with Jacory Croskey-Merritt. So I think he is. So I guess my point is that I think he's probably like a 7th, 8th rounder next year.
Yeah.
I would think that too. Maybe even later.
Depending on what else they do.
Someone, clearly, like you said. Maybe sign someone.
But think of him as a third down back with some upside.
Yeah.
A little bit like what Kenneth Gainwell has been doing for a while now.
Yeah, there's still, like, this offense should be better next year with full year of Jayden Daniels. Don't forget, Jayden Daniels had the greatest rookie season of all time, was in the NFC title game. Like, I still think this guy is one of the top 6-7 talents in the league at quarterback. And he should be a cheat code for a running game. And we never really got to see that rolling this year. So still some upside in terms of efficiency for that running offense.
Like, just here's how annoying Jacory Croskey-Merritt has been this year. Week 5, he had 27 fantasy points. Obviously, this past week, 22.5. All other 14 games, he averaged 6.3 points. He's been under 9 fantasy points in 11 of those 14 games. Like,
unplayable.
Yeah.
I'm still trying to wrap my head around why I'm playing you again. I beat you in round 1 of the loser bracket.
You did.
And we're playing again.
But then I worked my way back in.
I don't know. Who runs this league? This is the worst fantasy league ever created.
Yeah.
No demand.
Well, it's the League of Assholes.
Yes.
I believe producer Steven or Damien. One of those two is the commissioner.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I'm in the championship game. I got to buy. I'm starting Kanata Mumpfield and Michael Mayer in the championship
It's against
round.
Roto Pat. And this is, it pains me. I'm rooting for you. I hope you defeat Roto Pat.
I'm rooting for me too.
Yeah.
I don't feel great. Amon-Ra St. Brown didn't give me what I wanted yesterday.
No, he was tough.
Okay, but
we'll get to that game in a second. So Jacoby Croskey-Merritt, actually, for if those of you that had the guts to start him as a flex, that paid off as well. It was just nice to see the explosiveness that we knew was there from the preseason, but we hadn't really seen. Still not being used in the passing game as well, just a 3% target share this season. RJ Harvey, however, speaking of somebody that is used in the passing game, his 2.5 receptions over, that cashed. His receiving prop, that cashed as well. 5 for 33 and a touchdown through the air for RJ Harvey, over 70 total yards in this game.
Looks very smooth and comfortable as a receiver.
He did. That little, the one-on-one against Brian Cook in the end zone was a really savvy, kind of sold it the whole way and turned around exactly the last minute.
Good play from Nix as well. Didn't panic.
He threw the ball before he was looking, Harvey. It was a perfect play.
Yep.
So,
might get them the 1 seed in the end.
I mean, honestly, and by the way, since J.K. Dobbins was injured, he's been the 11th best running back in fantasy football. So he's been good. It's been a lot inflated by some of the touchdowns, but they trust him, obviously, in scoring position.
So that's the nice list. There was a lot of coal, though, on this Christmas Day in the fantasy world, with the Lions' offense
this is brutal.
Taking the cake.
This is brutal. Luckily, you might not have been in the finals because the Lions screwed you last week.
Right.
I'm so over the Lions. I tweeted this out. I'm angry at the Lions because I love the Lions. I was a Lions man. Amon-Ra St. Brown was my ride or die. I have Jared Goff.
Your friend Jared Goff.
My friend Jared Goff, my buddy at the Hall of Fame game. And this was bad. This is just an awful. Like again, I mentioned that at the top of the show we talked about at Festivus I complained about my dynasty league. It's a superflex league. I have both Amon-Ra St. Brown and Jared Goff, and I lost by 6 points. Like if that touchdown or Amon-Ra St. Brown comes down with the other, he missed one, dropped one, very, very frustrating. And so anyway, now I'm playing them again in the third place game. Against producer Damien, by the way, in this dynasty league. Producer Damien's in the dynasty league, and I mean Jared Goff, in my particular league, negative fantasy points.
Yeah, I think Dan Campbell's
5 turnovers.
Yeah, I think Dan Campbell's a good coach, and the story of the Lions the past few years has been a great one overall. But he's not covered himself in glory these past few weeks in particular. I'll never understand why they didn't just run the ball 4 times, 1st and goal at the 1 against the Steelers. I don't understand anything that they were doing in this game. And we saw that the big problem, Connor, has been just the interior of this offensive line and Goff being under pressure, and Goff breaks when he's under pressure.
Yeah, Brian Flores knows how to get to Goff from the A-gap. This is now the second game where you watch him against the Vikings where you're like, that pressure is getting home a lot and he's uncomfortable. Another thing is Dan Campbell, and he tried this year when he promoted John Morton to the offensive play caller. Then he took over play calling duties. He needs a real play caller again. You're not going to find Ben Johnson, but you got to go out there and get somebody.
I literally tweeted out. I said something like, can we go back in time and give Ben Johnson a raise for last year in terms of what he did with this offense?
It's amazing how long they kept him to begin with.
I mean, it really is. And the shockingest thing to me was, okay, great. And everyone, that's what you said is what everyone tweeted back at me. It's like, oh, their offensive line is beat up. It's not his fault, blah, blah, blah. Yes, it is. Because you're still out there playing, so you've got a bad offensive line. They're bringing pressure because that's what Brian Flores always does. So why don't you get in shotgun and try to dump it off to Jahmyr Gibbs? You've got one of the most dynamic running backs in the NFL in space. And so why don't you try to get that to him? And they didn't. he's been single-digit fantasy points in 2 of the past 3 games. Since week 15, he's averaging 2.2 yards per carry. Okay, stop running. There's a lot of Dave Montgomery in this game, and I don't know. Like, it just, this was bad. Jameson Williams only has 3 targets. Figure out a way to get him in space. Even, like, again, quickly get the ball out and let Jameson Williams run with it. And they just, I don't know. This was tough to watch.
Yep, tough one.
The Kwamakaze in the chat said, Christmas games were so brutal this year. Got to agree with Barry about leagues ending the week before if they had no buys week 14. And that is why America drinks for free today.
Yeah, I mean, listen, honestly, that was a tough watch yesterday. You know, if you're like me, you ignored your family all day to watch football, and and it was tough watching. I mean, like, again,
it wasn't pretty.
The Max Brosmer was not good in this game, and he was the better quarterback.
Right, he got to win. Good for Max Brosmer.
Yeah, America drinks for free. America
Max Brosmer is the better quarterback.
Yeah, I mean, like, Kwamakaze just nailing it right there as well. I am right. You're absolutely right. Of course, I'm always right. But Goff was bad. Gibbs was bad. Jameson Williams under 6 fantasy points in this game. Amon-Ra was decent, but should have been much better. Had a touchdown, dropped it. Like, just this is just a tough game all around for people that expected, like me, a lot of fantasy points from the Lions offense. And by the way, it wasn't like Justin Jefferson lit it up on the other side. Once again, just like the worst season we've ever seen from Justin Jefferson as well. Aaron Jones scores a touchdown too late. Needed it. I personally needed it last week. Again, that Dynasty League, lost by 6. Yeah. Listen, everyone knows my superpower is taking any subject and making it about me. Yeah. And so that's what I managed to do here.
Well, perfect name for you, CeeDee Lamb, your friend Eights.
My friend Eights.
5
Not
catches.
my friend Eights' fault. He got double-digit targets in this game. Dak Prescott was on fire, except when he was targeting CeeDee Lamb.
It's a bad misses.
Mike, there was a long play at the beginning of the game where he had 3 steps. CeeDee Lamb had 3 steps, had to slow up, and just Dak underthrows it. But sure, Kevontae Turpin, he hits in stride.
Perfect seed.
What are we doing?
Yeah.
It was awful. Like, CeeDee Lamb, he just can't seem to get I don't know what's wrong with Dak in terms of when it comes to CeeDee Lamb, because I thought otherwise he looked good.
Yeah, it's just a bad day. Just a bad day. Throw it out. Yeah. Next year, CeeDee Lamb will be fine. Next week doesn't matter.
I guess
next
so.
Year.
But when you needed CeeDee Lamb the most, back-to-back games with under 12 fantasy points, he'd scored 17 or more in 4 of the past 5. So I'm in a Guillotine League final where I have CeeDee Lamb, but luckily the guy I'm playing has Jahmyr Gibbs. So we're off to a hot start in our little matchup. It's brutal. It's absolutely brutal.
CeeDee will be a second-round pick next year.
Yeah.
I don't think he'll be a first-round pick next to Pickens.
Assuming Pickens will be back.
Yeah.
Let's take a look at the regular power rankings for Week 17. Valiant Vincent at the top of the board. Aloha Bricks steadily climbing up.
Yep.
Jonathan Medici swaps spots with Aloha Bricks. Stuntman Chuck.
Strong week for Stuntman Chuck and Ryan Oswald. Chuck is up 2. Ryan Oswald up 3 spots.
Raise the Flags, Neck Brace Nation, K Gemma, 6 through 8. Scott McClory and the Foot Brawler. Welcome to the rankings.
Foot Brawlers are good. Ved, Casual, Josh Still, El Segundo 3 are among those receiving votes. Congratulations to our regular power rankings. It's nice to see Scott and Foot Brawler make the list.
Foot Brawler is very quality over quantity.
That's exactly.
If he was an author, he'd be Hemingway.
That's right.
Yeah, efficiency of language.
Yeah, he's like a sniper. Like, he doesn't, but when he hits hard.
What's on Tap is brought to you by Bud Light, the official beer sponsor of the NFL. Our first question is from AJ Evans. Jalen Hurts or Caleb, full PPR, 40-yard completion bonus.
Jalen Hurts.
Yeah, I think the answer is Jalen Hurts, who's my number 2 quarterback. I have Williams at 9. Jalen Hurts, since week 12, is averaging 18 fantasy points per game. It's worth noting the Bills are bad against mobile quarterbacks. They give up the 3rd most rushing yards to opposing quarterbacks. Like I said, I think Jalen Hurts, this is a big Jalen Hurts game in terms of the rushing.
The next one from TX Cajun asks Michael Carter, Tony Pollard, or Schultz at the flex, PPR, tight end bonus.
So it's a tight end premium, which I get it. Tight end bonus is pretty interesting as well. I think it's I like actually all these guys. I have Michael Carter, 1 spot ahead of Pollard. I think I'm going to go with a running back here just because Schultz still doesn't score a lot of touchdowns. But no team allows more fantasy points to opposing running backs than the Cincinnati Bengals. Michael Carter, yes, his workload was down a little bit with DeMarcado back, but I think Carter still gets somewhere between 15 and 20 touches in a great matchup.
Our last one here, K Camp Khalifa, Tyrone Tracy or Parker Washington, PPR.
I'm going with Tyrone Tracy. We like Parker Washington in this matchup against the Colts, but Tyrone Tracy very quietly has had 18 or more touches in each of his past 4 healthy games. You like the matchup against the Raiders as well. They're a bottom 3 run defense over the last month.
That'll do it for What's on Tap, presented by Bud Light. Easy to drink, easy to enjoy. We're going to take our last break when we're back. Jay and I have our pickup lines to impress Matthew.
Ooh, baby.
Coming up after this. DraftKings Sportsbook is an official sports betting partner of the NFL, and new customers can bet $5 and get $200 in bonus bets if your bet wins. Download the app and use promo code FFHH when you sign up. DraftKings Sportsbook.
Crown is yours.
Last call, as we do every single Friday. Pickup lines time. Matthew, an even spread here. He's picked Jay and I each 8 times.
Yeah.
What do you got for him this week,
Stronger year for you, Connor. Jay, it's been tough sledding this year.
It's all right. Still time to bounce back. All right, here's what we got. I'm going to take Jaylen Waddle over 56.5 receiving yards. I know you're not sold on Quinn Ewers.
Everyone else is, but somebody has to say it.
This is brave after that.
I know you're not sold on him long term is the answer for the Miami Dolphins, but you don't have to be. You just have to be sold on him this week, getting the ball to Jaylen Waddle. Jaylen Waddle had 72 receiving yards last week, and here's the key thing. He got 9 targets. And now he goes up against the Bucs defense that is very much a pass funnel. The Bucs are a bottom 6 pass defense by success rate, top 4 rush defense. So Quinn Ewers, my man, will need to be throwing the ball. I think he'll throw it to Jaylen Waddle enough. Tyrone McMillan, 73 yards at a touchdown last week. He's the number 1 wide receiver against the Bucs. I think Waddle gets at least 57 yards.
All right, I'm looking at the toilet bowl. Giants-Raiders. This game could decide who picks number 1 overall in the draft. It's nearly a pick-em right now. Give me the Giants' money line. It's something you said to close out our last segment. Raiders are a bottom 3 run defense in football. The Giants, they haven't really been letting Jackson Dart throw. Might not matter. I think they can run the ball a lot in this game. The Giants, unfortunately for them, they're good at screwing up their tank at the end of the season. This feels like a Giants victory.
I hope it is because, as a Commanders fan, we're in the same division. But just having any money on that game, or 2 teams who we just have no idea what they can do, it's that's really sicko stuff. So, yes, even though I'm not sold on Quinn Ewers, I am sold on Jaylen Waddle getting at least 57 receiving yards in a good matchup. So, Jay, I'm going home with you. But, of course...
Phone stays on?
Phone stays on, Connor, because when Jay and I are done,
money line cash?
I may say, you up, and why don't I roll on through? Yeah, so we'll see how it goes. See how it all goes. All right, Liz, listen, that's our show. It's championship week. If you're still watching, congratulations. It means you're playing for something or you're a regular. We appreciate you either way. Go get yourself a title. Sunday morning, 11 a.m. Eastern, we'll be back with Fantasy Football pregame, so we see you all there. Listen, it's closing time. You don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. For Jay and Connor, I am Matthew Berry. We will see you Sunday morning. Good luck and peace out to all.